Okay, so you have approximately 6 equal squares set up on a new page in your science notebook. Now remember, as we learned about the constellations, we talked a little bit about they're just groups of stars that have been made into a recognizable pattern. And to kind of complete the recognizable pattern, they make believe or imagine that they're connecting the dots with lines. So what you really see in the sky looks like just stars, right? And we have to use our imagination to connect the dots. When we do our constellation drawings, we will actually be connecting the dots slightly, but you know that those aren't really there in the sky, and that's just to help our brains make sense of these clusters of stars. So what you have at the top right says winter constellations. And the winter constellations are what we are going to be learning about first. And these winter constellations are visible late fall through early spring. So they are not visible all year long. The only time you can see them is late in the fall, through the winter, and through the early part of spring. Visible late fall through early spring. As we go along, a lot of the spellings get to be a little difficult, and I will spell them out for you. Just try and keep writing as we're spelling, okay? The first constellation, when you start to begin to stargaze and try and find all these constellations, the first constellation you will always look for is Orion. And how you find Orion, always is usually the easiest part of Orion to find is his belt. And once you find the belt, you find the rest of Orion. And once you have the rest of Orion, you can use that to lead you to all the other constellations. So we are going to draw in Orion first. When we go through with our drawings, you will not only need to know the proper names of the constellation like Orion, but you will also have to know their nicknames, okay? So Orion is O-R-I-O-N, and Orion is also known as the Hunter. I'll bring that up a little bit and I'll zoom in a little bit for you. Orion is also known as the Hunter. So as you go out and you look in the night sky, you will first look for 3 stars that are close together in Orion's belt. So you're going to draw 3 stars. And they're 3 kind of in a row on a little bit of a diagonal usually when you're looking at them. And this is that imaginary line we were talking about. This is known as Orion's belt. So I would draw in a little arrow and make sure you have that labeled as Orion's belt. The belt is the first thing you're looking for when you're finding Orion. After that, what we're going to do is we're going to find Orion's shoulders. So if we go above the belt and out just a little bit, we'll put 2 dots there. And again, connect those a little bit. They're on a little angle because Orion's a hunter. He's got kind of broad shoulders. And each of these shoulder stars have names. So the one that's up here on the top left of your page is called Betelgeuse. And it's not spelled like beetle and then juice. It is B-E-T-E-L-G, not a J, but G-E-U-S-E. Betelgeuse. B-E-T-E-L-G-E-U-S-E.
I heard you guys saying Betelgeuse.
You're not supposed to say it 3 times in a row.
Well, yeah, I did. What happened to you guys 3 times in a row?
You haven't seen the movie?
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
We can watch that movie incentive.
Someday. Oh, that would be a good idea. Now, 3, 2, 1, stop. Betelgeuse is up here. The other shoulder is Bellatrix, and that is Bellatrix. Betelgeuse and Bellatrix. Those are the shoulders. Mackenzie.
My dad actually had a story that he bought it that had a living human being.
Oh, really? I love it. It's one of my favorites. Then what we're going to do, and depending on the stories, some of these will say these are his knees, some will say they're his ankles, but beneath that we have two more stars, and again you can kind of draw that in. And underneath Betelgeuse, his knee is called Saiph, S-A-I-P-H. S-A-I-P-H. And on the other side is Rigel. R-I-G-E-L. Rigel. The other thing I want you to kind of pay attention to is in Orion's belt here, between these two stars, is Orion's Nebula. What's a nebula again?
A starting.
What's it made of?
Dust.
Demi? Yeah, you're right, Matt? Gas and dust. It's a big old cloud of gas and dust. So in between these two in his belt, there is a nebula. Orion. It's called Orion's Nebula. This is Orion the Hunter. And what I want to do is I want to take a minute and I will show you a drawing of Orion the Hunter as soon as I find it. Because sometimes these can be kind of tricky to be like, how you say that's a hunter, huh? But I will find that for you and we'll project that. And I also want to share with you one of the stories about Orion the Hunter, because all of these constellations, remember yesterday, had stories that were kind of attached to them, and that's kind of how they became into being. So, this is Orion the Great Hunter, Orion the Hunter. You see right here those three stars that you always look for first as Orion's belt. Then you have Betelgeuse, Bellatrix, Saiph, and Rigel. Now some people will talk about some stars that are out here that sometimes look like a bow or a drawn arrow coming back. And there's, depending on the story, there's a couple different stories about whether it is a bow and arrow, about whether it's a shield. And as we go through our constellation journey, we'll be sharing some of those stories with you. I do want to talk and go through the story of Orion the Hunter with you. It says, with his great skill as a hunter, Orion provided meat each day for the gods' meals. One day Artemis, the moon goddess and goddess of the hunt, asked if she could accompany Orion on his daily hunt. He readily agreed. The next day, as they were hunting in the woods, they saw a deer. Orion carefully fitted an arrow to his bow and shot. So sure was his shot that the deer died instantly, which pleased Artemis greatly. At dinner that evening, Artemis told everyone, even Zeus, of Orion's great ability with the bow. All of the praise extremely pleased Orion, who vowed to impress Artemis even more the next day. Arising at dawn, Orion proceeded again to the forest, where he shot every animal he found. He then made a large pile of these animals near the door of Artemis's house. Then, knocking on her door, he asked her to come outside and see the great surprise he had for her. Upon seeing the great pile of dead animals, Artemis was horrified. For you see, Artemis was also the protector of animals and punished those who killed more than they could eat. In her anger, she stomped her foot on the ground, and out of the dust came a great scorpion, which stung Orion on the heel, causing him to die in great pain. But in honor of his great service to the gods, Zeus placed his constellation in the star. So, Orion thought it would be a good idea to lay a pile of dead animals at his crush's door. She was not amused, she was horrified. Carter.
You said Zeus placed his constellation in the stars?
Yes.
Sky.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
Sorry, he placed it in the sky. Thank you. There's another story that talks about Zeus not placing him so gently in the sky. So we'll talk about that a little later. And it also involves the scorpion, or what Zeus did to the scorpion. Okay. So that's just one of the stories, and as we go through these, I'll try and share some more of them with you. Some of them are kind of interesting. Okay. Let's get back to our drawings. We've got Orion. Orion is the main constellation that you are going to look for when you start going out at night or into the star lab to find all these constellations. And always look for what part of Orion first. 1, 2, 3.
The belt.
1, 2, 3.
The belt.
Good, the belt. You're always going to want to look for the belt first. That's the easiest to find. Okay, now, next after Orion. Orion had a couple of hunting dogs. The first one is called Canis Major. Canis, C-A-N-I-S. C-A-N-I-S, Major, M-A-J-O-R. Canis Major. Now, Canis Major has one of the brightest stars in the sky. So we're going to draw that big bright star first. And then above that, kind of on a diagonal, it's almost like we're making a little triangle here. We draw some other stars. Then you come down below, draw a couple more, and then we come one little guy all the way out here. And we draw our imaginary lines. And then one more out here. Now, what they say is this is like the head of the dog, front paws, back paws, and the tail. Remember when we said you might have to use your imagination on some of these?
Yes.
Imagination is not a might have to. For me, it's like a, whoa, you really got to use your imagination. But once it's described to me as that, I can kind of pick that out. This bright star, the brightest star in the night sky, is called Sirius. S-I-R-I-U-S. Kind of like Sirius satellite radio, right? S-I-R-I-U-S. Now, I want to show you how you can find, using Orion, you can find Canis Major. Okay? The first thing you find when you find Orion is what? His belt. Okay. Once you find his belt, what you're going to do, I'm going to show you this picture. Once you find his belt, you're going to look down and to the left a little bit on a diagonal, and you will see this very, very bright star. This is Sirius, and this is part of Canis Major. So find his belt first, look down and a little to the left to Sirius, and then you will find Canis Major. Now,
Is Sirius like the nose of the dog?
could be the nose of the dog.
Like this.
I like. Skylar. It looks like it, doesn't it? Not exactly what you think of when you think of a hunting dog, though, but we'll work with it. Now, for the nickname of Canis Major, make sure that you have written in that is big dog. Because remember, you're going to need to know their proper name and the nickname, and the constellation, and any stars that we have labeled. I know! Shaylee's giving me a look like, okay. Canis Major, the big dog. Now, he had 2 dogs. So next to that, we're going to write Canis Minor. M-I-N-O-R. Remember when I said you had to use your imagination?
Yeah.
Good luck with this one.
Oh.
Alright. Here's how you draw Canis Minor.
That's it?
That's it.
What?
Looks exactly like a little dog, right?
I see it now. I get it.
You get it.
I get it.
Antonio sees it. He's got it.
I see a line. I get it.
Alright.
Oh.
Canis Minor. This is little dog. Now, one thing I want you to label. Right here is a star called Procyon. P-R-O-C-Y-O-N. This is Procyon. And this looks, in our minds, apparently exactly like a little dog.
Nope.
Okay? Matt?
How are we supposed to find Canis Minor if every single star makes a line?
I will show you. Matt wants to know how you find Canis Minor. What do you need to find first? What?
Orion's belt.
Okay, so you find Orion's belt first. Now, let me show you this picture. When you find Orion's belt, that means you can also find Betelgeuse, right? And if you go from Betelgeuse and you look up and to the left, you run into the 2 stars of Canis Minor. And Procyon is a brighter star, so you will see it. But again, this is where your imagination might come into play. Carter.
Why is that?
I'm sorry, hold on. 3, 2, 1, stop. Thank you. Carter?
On a picture of Canis Major, it doesn't have the line that completes the face. Yeah. It's just like...
I don't know. That's a good question. Artist renditions may differ, I guess. Okay, so we have Orion, and we have his hunting dogs.
And
Next up is... Oh, question? Sorry, Matt.
do you have a story about the dogs?
I do, but not in the stuff I have out today. But when we come back Monday, remind me to pull those out. Okay, the next one we're going to do is Taurus. T-A-U-R-U-S. T-A-U-R-U-S. Taurus. And to draw Taurus in, are we ready? Everybody okay?
Yeah.
Alright, to draw Taurus in, you're going to start up here with 2 stars, come down a bit with 2 more. Now we're not going to box this all the way in, but we will draw a line here and a line here.
Where?
Right here
Oh.
and here. Then what we need to do is we need to add some more stars. So we're going to start working at a diagonal, and on the left hand side of your page you're going to go 1, 2, 3, and on the right hand side of your page you're just going to do 1. And then kind of connect those lines. This, they say, is the face of the bull.
Okay, what?
Taurus means the bull. Now, we do also have a bright star in Taurus that we are going to have to remember the name of. It is this one right here. And this is kind of a tricky, long name. It is Aldebaran. I'll spell it for you. A-L-D-E-B. B as in boy. A-R-A-N. I'll spell it again all at once. A-L, Al, Then your buddy Deb, D-E-B, and Ron, A-R-A-N. Aldebaran. Aldebaran. Not a winter one, though. I know. All right, now let's learn how to find Taurus the bull in the night sky. What constellation do we always look for first? Orion's belt. Once we find Orion's belt, then we can find Taurus the bull. So, if we start down here at Orion's belt, we're going to go off to the right, and then we run into Taurus. As you shoot off on a diagonal, you come in just underneath or a little bit below this bright star Aldebaran. Okay? And that will help you find Taurus the bull. Now, exactly. If you continue on through Taurus, you find Pleiades, which is going to be our next one.
Oh, I know the story of that one.
Well, which story? Because there's 43.
Oh, the one about Devil's Rock.
Okay. Will you share that with us today? Awesome. Okay. So, now that we know how to find Taurus the bull, let's get Pleiades in. I'll spell this for you. P-L-E-I-A-D-E-S. Pleiades. P-L-E-I-A-D-E-S. Pleiades. Pleiades is also known as 7 sisters. And as Matt and I were just talking, he said he knows the story of Pleiades. I'm going to have him share the one he knows. I have another story of Pleiades, and in that story it tells that it is one of the most storied constellations, and that there are some 43 different stories about the Pleiades. So, we're going to start reading a bunch of them, because some of them are really good. Now, for Pleiades, it is going to look like in the night sky just kind of a fuzzy cluster of stars. We're going to draw in 6 stars here, all kind of clustered together. Notice that I said you're going to draw in 6 stars. What is Pleiades' name? 7 sisters. That's part of one of the stories. Is that part of one of your stories? Okay. It's part of another one that I have. Now, Matt, do you want to share with us the story of Pleiades?
Okay, so there was an Indian tribe and these 7 girls wanted to go dance, and then when they were dancing, a bear came out of the bushes and chased them, but it jumped up onto a rock and said, "Grow, rock," and it grew, and it threw them up into the night sky, and that's called Devil's Rock.
Very good, thank you. Now, the one I have that I will share with you, I hope I didn't, here it is. Alright, Pleiades, 7 sisters. Of all the constellations in the sky, no group of stars has been no longer nor had more different stories, legends, or myths told about it than Pleiades. There are at least 43 different stories or names for them. However, there are only 2 that are closely related to the Greek heroes or gods. The Pleiades, according to the first Greek myth, were the 7 daughters of Procyon and Atlas. The giant who bears the world upon his shoulders. These 7 maidens, along with their sisters the Pleiades, these are the small stars forming the face of Taurus, these smaller stars here, were transformed into stars because of their amiable virtues and mutual affection, and because of their great sorrow at the burden imposed upon their father Atlas. So they felt very sorry for their dad having to bear the weight of the world on his shoulders. The second myth concerning the Pleiades tells how they were so beautiful that Orion was constantly chasing them, which caused them a great amount of discomfort. They appealed to Zeus for help, and in pity for them, he changed them into doves. As doves, they then flew up into the sky and found a hiding place among the stars. So Orion, in one of the stories, is a little bit of a stalker for the seven sisters. Now, there's another part of that story that I'll share with you later that talks about why, when we draw it, we draw 6 stars and not 7. And it goes back to, it kind of ups the ante on Orion's stalker behavior and what happened to the seventh sister. Tristan.
Speaking of the bull, like, what is, like, is Taurus, like, sort of a bull for us, like an actual bull?
An actual bull, like the animal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I actually felt like it was a cloud and it was in social world history, and it was in the science book, and I looked up in the sky, and then it looks like a bull, like, when their feet is, like this, and their head is down, it looks just like that.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, we do have another whole page to get to, but I think before we start on that, let's stand up, push our chairs in, and shake it out a little bit. My brain needs a break. My brain needs a break. Alright, here's it. Shake it out, stretch it out. 3, 2, 1, stop. While we give our rear ends a break, let's start learning the proper names and the nicknames. Orion is the proper name. What is his nickname? 1, 2, 3.
The Hunter.
Good. Then we have his 2 hunting dogs. Canis Major is also known as 1, 2, 3.
The Big Dog.
Canis Minor, 1, 2, 3.
Little Dog.
Then we have Taurus, also known as 1, 2, 3.
The Bull.
And the Pleiades, 1, 2, 3.
Seven sisters.
How many stars do we see? 1, 2, 3.
6.
And they're fuzzy. I have never really been able to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but you see this fuzzy little cluster.
I heard that the Greeks, like, if they would test their vision on it, and if they saw 7, then, like, their vision was considered, like, open.
Oh, really? Interesting. Awesome. Thank you. All right. Go ahead and sit back down. You're going to set up another new page in your science notebook. I'm going to zoom out for a minute. Remember, 6 equal sections. We're going to go down. My pen is running out. I'm sorry. I'm going to use a highlighter for now. All right. 6 says even as you can get them Coghlan sections. The next one we're going to learn about is Auriga. A-U-R-I-G-A. Auriga. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't see it. How's that? Better? A-U-R-I-G-A. Auriga. And for Auriga, it sounds like Eureka. For Auriga, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you do connect all of these dots. Was the highlighter a bad choice? Yeah? Sorry. How about this?
Yeah. That looks almost exactly like Taurus. But you have the line.
A little bit, and there's a little bit more of a stretch for Taurus. And Auriga's nickname is the Charioteer. So it is C-H-A-R-I-O-T-E-E-R. The Charioteer. And what they say is this is the guy driving the chariot with his reins here and the chariot is out front. You don't see it? Is there a story? I'm sure there is a story. And because we are so close to the end of class, we may reserve that story for later. But we will come back to it. Now, When we find, we'll come back to finding the charioteer as well, since the bell's about to ring. We'll stop here for today.